Hey guys, so we're back with another episode of Taco Imposters. Again, don't really know much to talk about, but there was one story that I was going to talk about. I guess I'll start off with that one. It's there was a via an FCC filing that people have found online. There's going to be Nintendo is making a Switch for the Switch. They're making a wireless NES and Super Nintendo controller, and so people go, oh, so that means that there's gonna be any Super Nintendo online, right? And you're like, I don't know if that means that. Well, also because they found a whole list before that, before the FCC filing for the controller, they found a whole list of like in like the code of the online, they found like a whole list of Super Nintendo games. You know, it was your standard stuff, your Kirby's, your Mario's, your Metroid, Super Metroid, stuff like that. But like your Zeldas, stuff like that. Stuff like, I don't know. It's possible. I don't think so. Knowing Nintendo, I don't think so. But you never know. Well, because um, it would make sense because if you think about it, right? Nintendo has Nintendo's online service ends in September, right? So it's about almost a year. So we've done the full year where people get a year of it for $20 or whatever, and it's like, okay, that's it's great. It's a great idea. Like, it would be a really good idea if they decided, okay, so we're going to give you now a reason to come back. Because from what I've heard, Nintendo Online, like Switch Online, is awful in every way. Because it's like the actual online itself. So if you're going to go online for like Splatoon or Mario Kart 8 Deluxe or Smash Bros or something, they're like, it's awful. And I'm like, can't be that bad, but apparently it's awful. It drops and you can't connect and servers are down all the time and stuff like that. But anyway, and then the other thing is Super Nintendo, sorry, the NES the NES online, like the games. It's very much like people are like, yeah, but we don't want those games. We really, really don't. We really don't. Nobody wants those games. And it's like some people do, yes, but most people don't. So they want a thing. And then I saw a video of a guy, right? And there was a video, it was a video, right? And he was talking about the NES online and talking about all the online stuff. And he's like, yeah, but it's a little too late for that. It's like we should have had that when it started. You should have had Super Nintendo games when it started. I'm telling you, you should have. But of course, you're Nintendo, so. And then he goes, "Are you gonna give us the 20 or the games that we saw on that list, or are you gonna bleed them out?" See, let me look at up that list. It is the list is fooey, fooey. It is the list is. Let me see if I can find it. Super Nintendo Online. Just the games. The games that people found. You gonna give us all those games, or you gonna bleed us out? Nintendo Switch Online. No. Oh, whoa. Super Nintendo Online. Was that a list of games people had? No. Maybe coming to the Switch based on a new FCC filing. Yeah, okay. Polygon. Yeah, okay. This is Polygon. So I don't know how much, like, where, if this is a list or this is just the FCC. See? FCC filing. See, NES style controller for Nintendo Switch appears in FCC filing. Yeah, I know it's FCC filing, but, like, is there a list of games too or no? No. Okay, not for this one at least. Come on. Let's see if I can get to find that list. This is like leaked list of Super Nintendo games for Nintendo Switch Online. There we go. I'm gonna find it. I think. I think I found it. Let's see. Let's see if we found it. I think I have. It is. Where's this list? Where's this list that I found? Okay, close this. Can I just get out of this? No ads on game music. Yeah. Whatever. Okay, stop. What is going on? Thought I found it. Maybe not. Anyway, and so they're like, yeah, but again, it's a little too little, too late for that. Because he goes, maybe. Because this guy that I was watching was like, no, 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 no. Not at all. He was like, I don't even care anymore at this point. I'm like, he had like very, very little. It was like a sliver that was keeping him on this. Because he's like, I would have just modified this long ago, but I was scared that I would get banned on online, right? Because you can get banned on Switch Online. And he goes, I don't care anymore. Switch Online is so bad that I don't care. It's awful. So I'm just going to mod my Switch and just play all the games, like, you know? Because he's just like, this is stupid. Whatever. I can't find the list. I can't find the list. But anyway, so yeah, this is just dumb, and it's not. And don't give me the crap where Nintendo goes. Well, it's not exactly possible to play those games on. Some of those games can be played on a freaking watch, okay? Calculator, okay? You can play it on a TI-89 calculator, 84 calculator. So stop. Like we can play it on a freaking TI-89 calculator. So don't give us the crap. But well, it's really hard to actually get that to work, and there would be no space. It would no, it'd be hard to do, and like, no, it's just you don't want to do it. You don't want to actually do it. You know it's possible. You just don't want to do it, right? Because people have hacked it and played freaking GameCube games on it. So stop with your bullcrap of you saying you've Nintendo going, well, it's not really possible. It's like iPhone, right? When they got rid of the headphone jack on the iPhone, they gave the claim, well, we're trying to maximize space, so we really don't have space to put in a headphone jack, right? But then you had someone from Scotty's from Strange Parts did a video. Look up youtube.com/strange parts. It's a really cool video because like it shows it's really cool. Just watch it. Anyway, but it's like okay, he takes and he puts a headphone jack back into it. That's crazy. He proves Apple your claim of iPhone. Well, it's not going to. I'm sorry, but it doesn't fit in a headphone jack. Like a headphone jack doesn't fit in an iPhone. No, that's bullcrap. That's absolute bullcrap. That's absolute bullcrap. Because he proved possible. Anyway, it's absolute bullcrap. So he proved it's possible. Whatever. I don't care. I don't know. Anyway, it's like when we want all these features on iPhones, and Apple's like, well, it's not really possible to do that on an iPhone, and then all the jailbreaks go, oh yeah, or you're like, yeah, it is, because we do it all the time, and it's like, oh, really? And it's like, yeah, yeah, we do. So shut up, Apple, and use your garbage saying, oh, well, it's not really possible. I'm really sorry, but it's not possible. Yeah, yeah, it is possible. That's so stupid, but whatever. It's little things like we're not allowed to go into a full file manager, like a root file manager on iPhone. Or for the longest time, we weren't allowed to record our screen. Like, oh my, the worst is emulators, but I don't think Apple will ever allow emulators because they don't want to get into the like hot water of like allowing emulators and being like allowing illegal stuff. It's like I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know. Don't ask me. I think that's a little baloney, but whatever. So everybody tried to hide their little things into other apps. Like I had my friend had a puzzle app, like a slide puzzle app, where it was a slide puzzle app, but if you did a certain maneuver and then click a certain button, it went up into an emulator. So, but he also jailbroke his phone. So, or no, he had an iPod at that point, at that time. So he jailbroke his iPod and was like, yeah, well, he jailbroke his iPod and was just whatever. He had all the emulators he wanted. So it's like, well, you know, he had an is it TT card or R4 card? One cards for the DS. So, and at the time, I thought it was like the most illegal thing ever. I didn't understand emulating at that point, but I've already talked about this like extensively. Talked about the whole thing, like, well, you know, I thought emulation was like a crazy thing, you know, and very legal, very crazy. So anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so yeah, you know. I've jailbroken phones. Jailbreaking. I also thought jailbreak was illegal, and then he explained to me, and he actually brought up like the proof arguments, whatever. The he googled it. It was like, yeah, it's not illegal. It just voids your warranty. Apple hates you. Apple hates us all for jailbreak, but sometimes you need that for certain functionalities. Like there are certain functionalities like you can get more storage out of your phone because you get rid of all like the stupid caching and all that, where like it just takes up a lot of space. It doesn't take up that much space, but it takes a significant amount of space. If you ever that okay, and animations. If you turn off animations, you'll be so surprised as to how fast your phone gets because Apple's stupid animations in your phone. It's like and like that's the thing. I have an Android, right? I have an Android, and my Android, I can turn off animations completely, and there are no animations for everything, and it is so fast. There's no. I don't have that stupid waiting time. Pew. Like the opening screen where it's like, I hate that. It just takes forever. I had an iPhone SE. I can't. I hate iPhones now. They're just so bad. I realize they're horrible. They're horrible because they take your money. Everything's so expensive. For what? You know, it's that whole thing of overhead and all the other problems we don't actually think about because we're like, it takes like costs like $100 to make an iPhone. What the heck? It's like, yeah, but there's all this overhead costs and paying employees and paying this and paying that and that's to make money, so they have to set. But I mean, $1,200 phone, 1,300 for a phone. That's insane. But then you think about it, right? And you go back to the original phones, right? Like old phones, the bricks back in the 90s, they were like $1,200. And then they were $4,000 a month for freaking plan, something stupid like that. It was crazy. It was crazy. It was pretty crazy. So nothing. This is absolutely nothing for for that. So yeah, but also back in the day, like originally, you consumers weren't buying. Well, made from the FCC approved the okay, well, the world's first commercial portable cell phone. It cost consumers a $3,990. $4,000. That's insane. That is insane. Insane. Okay, that is absolutely insane. Again, consumers were not buying these. Consumers weren't buying these for $4,000. There was a lot of companies that were like, okay, well, for reporters or for business people who had offices in different parts of the world and wanted to be able to call people wherever they were. Yeah, that's why they had them. Your average Joe did not go buy a cell phone for him and his family. Cell phones for everybody. No, 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 not at all. Not at all. No. I remember old cell phones. I had all those brick phones. Well, not bricks. I didn't have a bricks because those were like the 90s. But I had like all those old cell phones, like random cell phones wherever, whatever the cheapest thing was, or the good. I had the Nokia 30. I don't know if it was a 3310 or 1112 or 71 or whatever it was, but it had Snake and it had some like shooting game in it. Like you're a spaceship and it's like a vertical shooter. I don't remember exactly what it was. And then there was Nokia something else that had Bounce. Bounce is my favorite game I ever had on that game. Then I think it was another Nokia that had It had. I don't think it was Street Fighter. I think it was off of Street Fighter, but it was like a Street Fighter ripoff, but it was Street Fighter. And then was yeah, Street Fighter. Back when cell phones were preloaded with. Oh, it was great. I love that. Oh wait, great times, good times. Just remember them all. And it was cool ever, you know. And then like with the physical keyboards, like if you were a kid with one of those physical keyboards, oh, you were the shit, man. You were like, oh man, everyone loved you because you could actually physically type. But also that was back in the day when like texting was expensive. So if you got a plan which was like 10 cents a text, you were riding high because I had cheap. Because nowadays everyone goes, wait, there was a time when you paid for text. It's like, yeah, and you could still get plans where you have to pay for text. Which I don't understand why you would want that. I guess maybe if you want to limit yourself, like you, so that you know I got only this many texts, or it costs me this per text, or whatever it is, 150 texts a month or something. Because I knew somebody who had that, and I was like, still a thing? You can still do that? She's like, yeah. I'm like, why? Because it's cheaper, I guess. I don't know, but I pay okay. I pay $30 a month for calls and unlimited text. Yeah, I pay $30 a month for unlimited calls and unlimited text. I don't have any data, but I have unlimited calls and unlimited text. So it's like, what? Why would I want to? Like, why would I want to pay for text? I don't get it. Again, maybe it's because you don't want to use a lot of text, or you don't use a lot of text. I don't know. Cell phone companies are expensive. Cell phone plans are expensive. They're pretty expensive, and they haven't gotten to like nobody's figured out that. Well, there are some companies that have like where they have figured out stuff like, okay, here you get data, but you only pay for the data you use. Because basically, how plans work, if you don't know, plans work how you get like, say you have a plan of like 5 gigs, right? 5 gigs a month, let's say. You have 5 gigs a month, which is nothing when you think about it, but 5 gigs a month. And if you don't use 5 gigs, that's it. It doesn't roll over, you get screwed, and you lose those 5 gigs. That's it. But Ting has figured out no. Here, you pay for what you use. So you're only going to pay for what you use. So if you have, or if you want 12 gigs and you use like 3, you only pay for the 3 gigs. You don't pay for 5 more. You don't pay for 10 gigs, the 10 other gigs too. No, you don't. You're paying for the 5 gigs or the 3 gigs you use. So I don't know how we got onto cell phones, but oh yeah, price of cell phones and how they're stupid, right? Yeah. So I don't know. That's the thing. People want like other games on the Switch. People want like they want like hey, or just skip that off or give us that and the next one. You know, the next game. You know, they want GameCube games on there. They want okay. What people really want is they want stuff like Mario Sunshine. Mario Sunshine's never been re-released anywhere. There's you don't have a GameCube in the game. Never been re-released anywhere else. Never on the Wii. Never on the Wii U. Never Switch. Or never on the 3DS. So it's like that's like the one game people, and that's people's one. Like that's the game that people argue the reason they emulation exists. It's one of the reasons emulation exists because emulation exists to pirate games. But for a lot of people, they're not pirating games that are free. They're just pirating games that are not available anywhere else. You know, and old games that are really hard or really expensive that you would never play. Right, like you would never play that game because it's expensive. Like I would go and play Little Samson because I'm not paying like $600 for a Little Samson card. Are you crazy? Or like Surprise the Dinosaur Peak, Flintstone Surprise the Dinosaur, right? Or like uh, and Nintendo World Championship or Earthbound. I would never play Earthbound if I didn't emulate it because I'm not paying like $300, $250 for a for a card of surf Earthbound Earthbound. No, not at all. So I emulate it because I'm like, no, I'm not paying that price, right? So Mario Sunshine is the like one of the reasons people emulate. You're like, yeah, but that's because they don't have it anywhere else. There's no legal way of playing this. If I don't have a GameCube with the game, I can't play it. So a lot of people don't. So I will emulate it, right? A lot of people don't have NESs, and a lot of people don't have like Super Nintendos and all those like those systems, the older systems, or like Sega Genesis or any of those kind of systems. So or TurboGrafx 16, stuff like that, or like Neo Geo AVS. Is that what it's called? Anyway, so like, I'm never gonna play that otherwise. Like some like the what's it called? The CDI games, right? I'm not buying a CDI for who knows how much, and then paying like $200 or $300 for the games. They're like $200, $300. It's insane. It's actually absolutely insane. It's crazy. So I'm like, no, this is too. Are you crazy? I'm not paying that price. No, no. So I emulate it. Like, oh, okay. Just great. Hey, what are you gonna do? So So people don't want more NES games, and people don't want Super Nintendo games. It'd be nice. It'd be nice to have Super Nintendo games, but people are really done with that. They're like, no, skip it completely and just go to something else now. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, you know what? I agree, kind of. I mean, I don't have a Switch. I don't have online, so I don't know how it works. And I haven't seen people play online with it, so I haven't heard much about like because you're apparently supposed to be able to add, not add, you're supposed to be able to like hand off the games and else online, which sounds a cool concept, but I feel like it's one of those concepts, one of those features that nobody's going to use. Like, ever. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, I could do that." Meh, whatever. Like meh, whatever. So I don't know. I feel like it would just be like never used, just because like people are like, "Oh yeah, that right, whatever." It's like on my Samsung Galaxy S Edge. There's Edge Swipe, but I never ever use it because I just forget about it, and I'm just like, oh yeah, I have that. I thought I'd be using it for a lot more things, like to quickly bring up something, but sort of like how the what's it called on iPhone, the dock, the bottom dock when it comes up. I thought I would use it like that. No, I never do. I forget about it. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's a thing. Right. When people say it's okay, I've heard people say the online is pretty garbage, like the actual online if you're playing like a game online. But I mean, you buy it for like the NES games. But even there, they're like, really depends on if you like the games that they have. And I'm like, I don't know if I do. And I looked at them, I'm like, that's the other thing. There are so many ways to play those games that I don't need to play them online. And then you could argument, well, they're portable. It's like, yeah, but I could play it on even if I could play it on my 3DS. I could play those games on my 3DS. If I want a legit way of playing it, like legally, right? Like a legal way, like a legit way, just play it on my 3DS. Whatever. Those games are already on my 3DS. A lot of them are. I don't know if all of them are, but a lot of them are. So it's like I don't need to, do it again. Buy it again. Play no. You know, and there's just millions of ways of playing those games anyway. So I don't need that. So and yeah, I mean, there's millions of ways of playing the Super Nintendo one. So like, why do I need another way to play it? You know. And why didn't you have this when it started too? Okay, the biggest argument is why didn't you just have a virtual console like the Wii? Why didn't you just take the Wii, put it on the Switch? That's it. Take the Wii virtual console and all the stuff they had on there and just put it on the Switch. People would have been like, "This is amazing, the best thing ever." Everybody would have bought Switch Online. Everybody. You make it an online feature, right? But you don't just give us games. You charge us for games, like you sell the games to us, and we still would have bought them. We still would have bought them. If you have to pay for the online service and pay for games, we still would have bought them. Nintendo knows that. Why did they just do that? I don't get it, but they're Nintendo. They make one step forward and then they do three steps back, and you're like, "Oh, great! So you're doing this, but we're gonna screw you over this way." And you're like, "Why? Why? I don't get it." Nintendo, you're. But again, people are like, "Yeah, but we're Nintendo. You're still gonna buy from us." It's like, yeah, yeah, you're right. You know that, Nintendo, you're right. We are gonna buy from you. That's the thing. That's kind of almost a sad thing about it too. I think I've said this before, but it's the same reason the bad Transformers movies keep being made, or the bad movies in general keep being made, or bad games, or bad whatever, or things that we just hate. It's like it's because you keep buying them, stupid people, or you keep watching them, or you keep going to go see these movies. I say that all the time. I'm like, every subsequent Transformers movie is terrible. But the only reason it's terrible, I'm sorry, no, the only reason it still exists, like they're still making them, is because you go and watch them. You come out of it going, that was awful, right? Every subsequent one, right? The first one, I watched it in theaters when I was like 7 or 8. It was okay. I liked it. It was okay. It was a good like, excuse me. It was a good live action version of like a cartoon. Like it wasn't that great, but it was okay. It was so yeah, right. And then it's just like, but every subsequent one, I've never seen any of the other ones, but everyone said they're terrible. I've seen no, I've seen bits and pieces of like some of the other ones, and I'm like, they're awful. They're just bad. Yeah, they are. They are bad. But it's because you keep watching them. Stop going to go see them, and bad, and they will stop being made. That's the thing, right? They're very much like, oh, they're bad. Like they'll come out of it going, oh, that was pretty bad. And you're like, well, no, really, you know that they're bad, but you keep going to go see them anyway. Whatever, I don't care. You know, like it's like why the Apple phone is $1,200, but you're just like an iPhone is $1,200, but you still buy it anyway. They could make it like $10,000 a phone, and somebody would still buy it, and people still buy it, or like $5,000 a phone, and they'd be like, okay, I'll still buy it. You know, because they're so Apple loyal fan bullcrap. It's like stop. The reason they're expensive is because they know that they'll get that money out of you. They know they can get that money out of you, so they're just like, we can charge whatever we want, and they'll still buy it, right? Like it's like I said about the the guy at my summer camp that came by and was like, I need gas. Do you know where the nearest gas station is? I told the story before, but and my boss was like, yeah, yeah, you just go down the road and then you turn like right and you'll hit like a town and there'll be a gas station there. He's like, okay, great, thanks. But then my other colleague was like, but you could have, whoa, we could have charged him like $50 a gallon, $50 an ounce, $50 a milliliter of gas, $100 a milliliter of gas, and they would have been like, damn it. But they'd have to buy it. They'd have to get it. They'd spend that money because they're desperate. Because they were desperate. Not that we're desperate here, but like we're just fanboys and we don't care. For the iPhones, like we'll just buy it. You know, which is one reason why I stopped buying iPhones because even the oldest iPhone that they sell, I think the iPhone 7 Plus or 7, right? It's still like five, six, $700. I'm like, oh my god, really? Why? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I got an iPhone SE because I thought it was going to be a cheaper iPhone. No, it was still $800 or something, $700. Oh my god, this is so stupid. Because that's what they marketed it. They marketed it as the cheap one, like the $300 one, and it was $300 in certain parts of the world, not everywhere, not in North America, not in Canada. I'm like, but you, oh my god, why? Whatever. Hey, they're Apple. They can charge whatever they want, and people still buy them. So whatever. It's like Nintendo. Yeah, you'll still buy the service. Well, because the other argument from the guy I was watching with the video about he's gonna hack his Switch, he's like, stop giving me the argument. Oh well, it's $20. It's so cheap anyway. I mean, whatever. No, you're still spending $20 on something that's terrible, on something that's absolutely god awful. It's terrible. It's a really bad experience because it's nothing you want. A bad online experience with NES games that you don't really want, that you're probably not going to play. Most people are probably not going to play them. Because if they do want to play them, they already have the means to play them. And they have the means to play them on the go too, like portable, on either a 3DS or emulated on their phone or whatever. or on like a GPD Win GP DXD Win. What's that thing called? I think it looks like a 3DS, but it runs Android. Anyway, it's like a 3DS, but it runs Android. Anyway, or like a phone or whatever, a PSP or a PS Vita, whatever it is. They have a better way of doing it, and they could run so many more games. So, or they've hacked their Switch and they're like, okay, I already have all the games. I don't need to buy your games, like your service again, to get these new next games. I mean, I'm sure it's gonna get few people. It's gonna get some people if they do this, which I'm sure they probably will. Maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know. They're Nintendo, so I'm not sure. You never know what they're gonna do. But yeah, if they do this, it's a good incentive to get it again. Like for some people, it'll be like, oh, you know what? Yeah, I'll sign up again for another year of Nintendo Online. Because they want their Super Nintendo games. But we saw this with the the N64. We saw them file for a was it a logo or something, or was it an FCC for a controller? No, I think it was a logo for the Super N64, and we were all like, "Oh my God, it's an N64 classic! It's coming!" And never came. Because we also saw a list on the um UK Nintendo website saying for like N64 games, and we're all like, "This is the official. This is the what's the word I'm looking for? Confirmed leaked list of N64 games on the N64 Classic." And we're like, "No, that's just a random list of games that didn't correspond to anything. It didn't say that possible N64 Classic games. No, it was just a random list of N64 games that people were like, "Oh my gosh, there's the N64 Classic list. It's confirmed, leaked N64 Classic list." It's like, no, stop. No, we didn't get that. And I think it was what's his name? Um, Reggie Fils-Aimé was like, he confirmed, like, yeah, this is not happening. At least it's not happening this year. Maybe in the future, but this is not happening anytime soon. We're not getting an N64 Classic. So. Oh well, what are you gonna do, right? Because people are saying, nah, I think we're gonna get a Game Boy Classic before we get a N64 Classic, and I'm like, I don't know about that, but yeah, probably. Because and I'm thinking, how would you do that? But you would just like have a cart that looks. I think you would have a cart that looks like the Super Game Boy. You know the thing that goes into the Super Nintendo. You just have something that looks like that would be that. Cause I'm like, why would you make a Game Boy? Because what would you make it portable? And you go, no, I don't think they would make it portable. I think they'd make it like a console, but they do the Super Nintendo, like the Super Game Boy. So that's just my personal opinion on how I think they would do it. So um yeah. So I don't know. I never like loved the Game Boy. I didn't have a lot of games on the Game Boy. I had a lot more games on the Game Boy Advance, like 10 maybe on the Game Boy Advance, and then like two on the Game Boy. I had Super Mario Land 2, which technically not mine, with my brother's, but it was one of those games where like I played it way more than my brother did, so it just became my game. Like yeah, it just became mine. Like oh yeah, it just became mine. You know when you have a product, like you have a thing, either it's a camera or a computer or a video game system or a game where it's not yours. Like you know that, right? It's not yours, but you use it so much that it eventually just becomes yours. It happens a lot with a lot of things like computers and like cameras and stuff, where like eventually it's just yours. Like so. Anyway, yeah, I had that and I had Donkey Kong Country for Game Boy. Or maybe it was Country 2? I don't remember. Oh no, right here. I can tell you what it was. It was Donkey Kong, Donkey Kong Rare, Donkey Kong. I don't know. Let me see. It was Donkey Kong Country, the first one. Okay. So yeah. Eh, So yeah, I had that game too. I mean, I've just got a few other games like Pokemon Gold, and my brother got Yellow, and he got like the Zeldas on Game Boy, so the three Zeldas on Game Boy. Um, oh my gosh, I'm blanking. Link's Awakening, Oracle of Ages, Oracle of Seasons. So, but I didn't have a lot of Game Boy games. I don't know. Game Boy was not my system. I have to say that for a fact. Game Boy was not my system. Not that I don't like Game Boy. There's like 600 games on Game Boy. It's great. I was listening to Pat Contry's podcast, the CEO podcast, and he was making the point that because he's done a N4, he's done a NES guidebook and he's done a Super Nintendo guidebook, right? And he's like, I think it'd be more interesting to make the next one to be a Game Boy guidebook rather than a N64 guidebook because he's like because Ian goes yeah it's because every and the reason people are like they want their N64 one is they want to hear you talk about the same 25 games, the only good games, hear your great like nostalgia for, and then that's it. They don't care like because there's too many because that was exactly at the point at the era when we started to have way too many sports and racing games where it's just like it's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. It's stupid. It's dumb. It's dumb. So I'm not saying that it would be bad, but like he's right in terms of like, yeah, it'd be the same like 24 games that people have, like people love. The Zeldas, Pokemon's, the Mario's, the Kirby's, the Metro. Well, Metroid wasn't on there actually. Whatever. Same games. Because that's the thing. I thought to myself when I was thinking of the list of N64 classics. I'm like, yeah, that's the thing though. With the other ones, you can argue, well, my favorite game wasn't on there. My favorite game wasn't on the N60, NES Classic or on the N64, on the Super Nintendo Classic. But for the N64, if you had 30, maybe 35, maybe 40 games, that's all the good 30, 35, 40 games. You're not going to miss any games. Everyone's going to be happy. Everyone's going to be happy with that system. It'd be really easy to make because it would just be like, yeah, here's your 40 games, or 35 or 30, whatever it is, and that's it. Those are your good games, and there you go. That's all the good games on that system. So, but again, there's a lot of games on there like Rare, where it's gonna be hard to get licenses to those games, like GoldenEye and Diddy Kong Racing and Donkey Kong 64 and all those games where it's like, oh, dang. But they got them on for certain games. They got them on the Super Nintendo Classic, so I don't know something about it. Like Conker's Bad Fur Day and Banjo Kazooie, and people will be like, Star Wars. Would you get the license from Disney to do freaking Star Wars Rogue Squadron or Shadows of the Empire or or Episode One Racing? I don't know. Yeah, it'd be a lot easier to. You'd please pretty much everybody if you did that, in my opinion. So you would please everybody if you did that. Compared to like the N64 Classic or the sorry, keep saying that the NES Classic or the Super Nintendo Classic, where people are like, "But my favorite game wasn't on there." Well, that's because there's 600 plus games. Okay, 600 plus games. You're gonna miss a few games if your favorite game was you know some weird obscure game on that system. So yeah, so I think it would be really easy to make one of those. And then you go into the Game Boy one and you go, well, which games do we put on there? And that's the thing, right? You'd have the first classic games, the Pokemons, the Mario's, the Zeldas, and then I personally have no idea what else you'd put on there. Maybe like something like the Castlevanias, maybe the Final Fantasies, maybe like Donkey Kong 94, maybe like I don't know what else actually, maybe like Donkey Kong Country, maybe I don't know though, maybe. To me, let me look at the list of games on Game Boy. No, let's see. They're gonna give you a list on like Google gives you like a nice list where it's there you go. Oh, definitely gonna have to have Tetris. Definitely gonna have to have Tetris. Pokemon Red and Blue. Yes, definitely. Mario Land 1 and 2, definitely. Kirby. Kirby was on. Oh yeah, there was a Kirby on Game Boy, wasn't there? There was like Tilt and Tumble, wasn't there? I think so. Oh, my back is itchy. Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. Oh yeah. Oh no, that was on Game Boy Advance. No, 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 no. Can't do that. But you can do the other three Zeldas. Oracle, Link's Awakening, Oracle of Ages, Oracle of Seasons. Pokemon Yellow. I don't know. I mean, there'd be no point to not put it on there, but yeah. And that's the thing. Do you count the sorry, Pokemon? Do you count the Game Boy Color games? So like, do I put like Gold, Silver, and Crystal? I don't know. I don't think so. I think they would like cash cow. They'd learn. They'd realize, oh, we can make a whole different one for color games. So, see Kirby's Dream Land, Zelda. Was there a remake on Game Boy? Or that was Game Boy Advance, wasn't it? Wario Land 1, which is technically Mario Land 3. There's Donkey Kong Country. Yeah, yeah. There's Dr. Mario. There's Metroid. Right, there was a Metroid on Game Boy. See, Final Fantasy Adventures. There's Pokemon Pinball. That's a color game though. I don't think they put it on there. Kid Dracula. See, that's what they could do. They could put a few games like they did with the NES. No, sorry, Super Nintendo Classic, where they put a few of those games that were really expensive on there to make the whole money. Like Kid Dracula, that game is like hundreds of dollars. It's crazy. Gargoyles Quest, that's a good one. Pac-Man, sure. See Donkey Kong 94. Ah, the Oracle of Ages is a color game. The Oracle Zelda Oracle games are color games. Dang it. See Kirby's Dream Land 2, Contra 3, Wario Land 2. It's a color game. What else is there? There's a Street Fighter on Game Boy. Yes, I think it was. Yeah, it was. There's a Frogger on Game Boy, wasn't there? Or Game Boy Advance, maybe. There's Spider-Man on Game Boy. Yeah, I remember that. What else is there? Quick Snow. Yeah, some of these games. Yeah, sure. Yeah, some of them I can see them putting on there. But I don't know. Let's see. List of Game Boy games. List of original Game Boy games. There you go. Okay. Can I go by like a different? Can I? Can I buy? Whatever. I can't. I was gonna go by like popularity or best selling. Maybe I don't know. Let me look up best selling Game Boy games. Best selling Game Boy games. Let's see. Best selling Game Boy game. Game Boy. Here we go. Wikipedia. Best selling Game Boy games. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Pokemon Red, Green, Blue. Okay, 35 million. Okay. Pokemon Red, Green, Blue. Oh, Pokemon Gold, Silver. They're considering the Game Boy Color as Game Boy. Super Mario Land, Pokemon Yellow, Super Mario Land 2, Pokemon Crystal, Dr. Mario, Pokemon Pinball, Wario Land, Super Mario Land 4, Kirby's Dream World, Kirby's Dream Land, sorry, Super Mario Bros. Deluxe. That was on Game Boy? Okay. Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons, Oracle of Ages, Oracle of Seasons. Donkey Kong Land. Oh yeah, I remember that. Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. Pokemon Trading Card Game. Oh yeah, they could put. Well, that's a color game. Whatever. Pokemon F1 Racer. Yoshi. Donkey Kong. Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Master. Battle of Great Destiny. That's a game, but color game though. Duelists. Sorry. Monster. 4. Battle of Great Duelists. Kirby's Dream Land. Dragon Warrior. Donkey Kong Land 2. Link's Awakening XD. DX. Mm. Kirby's Pinball Land, Donkey Kong Country, Golf, Tennis, Alleyway, Tetris, Metroid, Return of Samus. That's a Game Boy. Oh, that's a Game Boy. Okay. Baseball, Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Master, Dragon Warrior 2, Dragon Warrior Monster 2, Monsters 2, Yoshi's Cookie, Warrior Land 2. Oh, yeah, that was on Game Boy. Yeah, Warrior Land 2. DuckTales. DuckTales was on Game Boy. The Final Fantasy Legends. I don't know how to say that. Yakuman. Tetris 2, Kirby Tilt and Tumble, Game and Watch Galleries. Oh, yeah. I don't know because I could almost feel like there could be a little bit of like just shovelware. Like I'll just throwing stuff on there and be like, oh, this is not great. Mario Tennis, Super RC Pro Am, Donkey Kong Land 3, Game and Watch. Okay, that's 53. Okay, number one is Pokemon Red, Green, and Blue. Interesting. Um, yeah, I don't know. Some of those games I don't understand. Tetris. How did I not think of Tetris? Tetris, Pokemon, Zelda, Mario, maybe Wario Land, stuff like that. Trading card, Pokemon trading card game, pinball, Kirby, that kind of stuff. Metroid, that kind of things. I guess you could fill a list. You could fill one up. I think. I definitely think you could fill one up. So I think that'll be it for now, guys. So adios, muchachos.